important, okay?
What?
Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and personal Savior?
Oh my God. Vanessa, you're really scaring me.
Tell me now, Bob.
Second class cinema. Wanna be together. Second class.
Welcome to Second Class Cinnabon, the show where we eat a cinnamon roll and immediately discuss.
All right, I was just about to ask. Did you say second class cinnamon bun?
Cinnabon.
Just kidding. Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and then immediately discuss it. I'm Tom. I'm here with Eric, Brittany, and Jimmy.
Oh my God!
Our special guest.
I'm a little nervous. I've never done a podcast before.
Don't worry, it'll come naturally to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Yeah, Jimmy and I have never podcasted together ever before. This will be the first time. Just kidding. We do the Studio Cellar together. That's a different podcast.
Can I do my pick of the week?
Not yet! So we just got off of watching 1996's Freeway.
Freeway.
But before we dive into that so much, let's ask the question to Jimmy. What's your relationship with B movies?
Well, Tom, I mean, B movies have been something that you've been involved in. That's about my extent of
Okay.
B movie knowledge. And, you know, once in a while you'll invite me over and I'll get to enjoy a B movie.
And that's it.
That's pretty much it.
All right.
I don't really go out of my way to watch B movies on my own.
Yeah.
So I kind of rely on you guys for that.
Oh, that's good.
But they're always enjoyable, usually.
That's good.
Get a good laugh.
Usually some drunken exposure after, like, nights out.
Yeah. Typically.
I drunkenly expose myself on these nights a number of times. Let me tell you, when we watch Samurai Cop, yeah.
Still haven't seen Samurai Cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should make that happen.
We should have you come by on our 24-hour marathon of Samurai Cop.
By the way, guys, we haven't received any of your $10 donations. I'm a little upset.
No envelopes, no $10.
No.
So,
I was
no
hoping
thanks.
for at least one or the other.
At least if we got envelopes sent to us, that'd be one thing. Yeah. But we took it easy on you, Jimmy. We watched Freeway, and this was Brittany's selection. So why don't you tell us why you chose this?
I chose this movie because I goddamn love it. I love everything about it.
I enjoyed it.
A friend of mine had it on a VHS that she recorded when she was 10 years old, maybe. And she was like, I always used to watch this movie, and it was so fucked up.
Hold on. She was 10 when she watched this?
Well, I'm assuming, because it came out in 1995, so I'm assuming it got put on TV a few years later.
Okay, all right.
So she was about our age. And she was like, this movie Freeway. And I was like, I've never heard of it. And originally, I think I saw the second one, which is 10 times more fucked up than this one.
Wow, really?
How did they make a sequel?
Yes.
Does Kiefer Sutherland come back from the dead again?
It has I think it has like...
Hit both eyes. He looks like... I was going to say something. You know exactly what I was going to say.
Nothing.
It has like one or two characters in common, but they're very background. It has like almost nothing to do with the original.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I picked this movie because I think it's hilarious and I love it.
It was. It's a dark comedy crime drama?
Dark comedy, yeah.
Dark comedy crime drama, I guess.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah. So what's it about?
This movie is basically a modern retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. Now, just take out the woods that she gets lost in and replace
shit,
it with like...
realized.
Did you really just... Dude, it was so blatant.
It
yeah,
really
it was like
he was
really...
a grandma in a bed.
There were cartoon drawings of Little Red Riding Hood through the credits.
I know.
All right, so pick up Little Red Riding Hood and drop it in like Southeast LA. And now take out Little Red Riding Hood and drop in like a poor illiterate urban youth played by Reese Witherspoon. Because when I think of poor illiterate urban youths, I think of Reese Witherspoon.
She actually nailed it, though.
No,
She
I was
fucking
at the beginning. I
kills
was
it in
like,
this movie.
I don't know how I feel about this, but definitely shined her true ghetto colors by the end of the movie.
For certain.
She does a great job.
Yeah.
And replace like the big bad wolf with the I-5 killer played by Kiefer Sutherland, who is just a serial killer who's murdering women that he picks up on the highway. And yeah, it's pretty wacky.
Which I also didn't put together until he started going nuts.
Really?
His character's name is Bob Wolverton. I just like that to be known.
Yes. So this is not the typical movie that we watch here. This is a B movie, but it is...
But it has some great names in it.
It's got a great cast, right?
See, now why would you classify this as a B movie?
That's a good question.
Well, a B movie is... I was doing a little research.
Good. We don't do that around here. What are you doing?
What is research? Technically, a B movie is just a low-budget commercial film. That's it.
Yep.
It was originally used when they would do like double billings, and it was always like the lesser known, lesser cared about B billing.
Yep.
But yeah, that's really all it takes to constitute as a B movie. And I picked it for Cult Month because it does have like a fairly large cult following, considering that it was a total commercial failure when it came out. Their budget was $3 million, and it made like opening weekend like 14,000.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like real bad. I have some numbers here. Wait, 14,000 opening weekend, and overall gross was 295,000.
Oh my god.
So this movie's never made its money back, even after like DVD sales or anything like that.
And that's really terrible to me.
That is a shame.
Because it's a really fun movie.
It's way
I don't
better
know if
than
it was
that.
just before its time. It's very dark.
I think this maybe a couple years later. I think this could have been a more successful endeavor.
Yeah.
And I was also going to say, like you said, this isn't quite the same kind of movie we cover. The movies we usually cover are pretty dumb, and I feel like this movie was it was a pretty smart movie.
It was well done.
Totally. I would say that tends to be one of the movie's successes, is that it's kind of intelligently written and intelligently paced. I felt like a lot of miniature scenarios happening throughout this movie. Like I felt like we saw a lot of time pass and a lot of character growth in this short period of time, you know?
Yeah.
Like there were different staves to this movie.
And in a way, actually, it did remind me a little bit of its time in that it feels a little bit like Pulp Fiction. It has that same kind of pacing, not necessarily the simultaneous storylines going on at the same time, but just like the way things are paced out and everything's kind of this own little vignette. I like that.
Yeah, like crazy things are happening and just kind of pushing it along.
This film kind of gave me the Natural Born Killers vibe.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, I mean, that's actually funny that you say that, is because Oliver Stone is an executive producer on this. And I noticed that in the opening credits. I didn't even know that otherwise, so there you go.
Yeah. I think a huge strength of this movie is the writing. Like, the dialogue is so brash and honest.
Oh, this movie pulls zero punches.
Yeah, none at all. It's so honest and vulgar, but I feel like it really works without being, like, gratuitous.
Totally.
I feel like it fits.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about it was, was it Reese Witherspoon's character, Vanessa? One of the things I liked about her is that she was at all times perfectly honest about everything.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's such an admirable quality in a human being. So when characters in movies and television shows are just honest about everything, I always like that. It's just like, well, they just tell it like it is. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
She was never obnoxious either.
Yeah.
Well, she was definitely obnoxious,
a couple of times,
man.
but I never got the vibe that she was annoying me as a viewer.
She shot him
Yeah.
like 6 times. It's pretty obnoxious.
You want to get shot a
That's
whole
a
bunch of
little annoying.
times.
Yeah. I loved how she always asked. That was her thing. It was going to shoot you a whole bunch of times.
Like, you don't want that. It's going to happen if you don't stop it.
Yeah, not to mention she was like was supposed to be like 15 or 16 years old. Her character in this movie,
Probably like 16.
16.
She knew how to drive a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say about 16 years old.
So basically, I don't know if we want to get a little more into the plot, or if we're just
Yeah,
beyond that.
we can progress the plot forward.
Okay, so just a rough breakdown. She has like a whore crackhead mom who gets arrested for soliciting, which in turn sends her searching for her grandmother so she doesn't go into foster care. And that's when her car breaks down on I-5 and she meets the I-5 killer, and he basically gets her to open herself up to him and tell him about her childhood. And then she finds out he's the killer. She gets sent to like a juvenile facility, and then this whole like investigation ensues, basically.
You missed a step.
I would say, yeah, she finds out he's the killer, and then
And then she
you skip like the
I was
really
trying
important.
to be kind of vague.
Finding out who the I-5 killer is? Nope, you're going to jail.
So first she says she's going to turn him in, but then she ends up just shooting him after he says he's going to have sex with her dead body.
Yeah,
And you are led to believe that he is dead, and she leaves him for dead, and she just moves on. But then,
Which he
that
should
is
have
not
been
the
dead
case.
because he took like fucking 5 bullets.
he definitely should have died. We can agree on that. But I like
Yeah.
how the movie kind of took a strange turn then. So it went from, she's getting away, and then she's, they're building this relationship, and then he turns on her like real quick, and it's pretty fast, and it's pretty bad, and he doesn't even really get a ton of time to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He gets maybe a few minutes to be the bad guy before he fucks the whole thing up.
But see, I love that.
And
Yes, me too.
I thought that was a fantastic thing.
I wrote that down as a success.
Totally.
because I feel like she is just like at the mercy of everyone in this movie. She's like constantly in danger of being exploited, and everyone just wants to take advantage of her and like doesn't give a shit about her at all. But she kind of takes it into her own hands and just does not allow that to happen.
Yeah,
At every turn, she's like, "No, fuck this."
She's never allowed to be a victim for more than like 10 seconds. I love that.
Yeah, I thought the acting
That's
in this
good.
movie was great.
Yeah.
For being so like campy, kind of.
Yeah.
But taking it seriously the whole time. Like I don't feel like anyone's ever in on the joke except for Vanessa.
Right.
I thought that Brittany Murphy's role was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
it took me a few minutes to realize that it was her, and then the way that she was portraying that character was like, whoa.
Her lesbian
crazy.
drug addict
Yeah,
bunkmate.
I was like, I couldn't imagine Brittany Murphy doing that.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
I like all the little cameos in this movie. There's a lot of them. Brittany Murphy, Dan Hedaya, which is not a cameo because he's one of the like main characters.
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields, Bakeem Woodbine, Amanda Plummer.
Oh, that's right,
Who
Amanda
was
Plummer, who played the
fantastic
mom.
in the 5 minutes she was in this movie, as always.
Yeah, that's right.
She always plays a great psychopath. She has like some crazy emotional intensity going on.
Totally agree. Any more successes we want to chalk up? Anything else we got up our sleeves?
I'm definitely not like a film major type, so this stuff tends to be kind of lost on me. I don't know if the filmmakers intended this, but the use of color I thought was very interesting.
Okay.
So, for example, whenever Vanessa escapes from a bad situation, like she escapes from her terrible family life or she escapes from the prison,
Yeah.
the colors are very vibrant. Like it was very, there were like a lot of, like you said, like the LA greens and like the urban blues and reds.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool. And then when she gets arrested, there's a lot of reds and whites all over the screen, to symbolize the blood that she's shed because she shot someone about 17 times.
Yeah, I think that crosses over into the scene where she has a dream, and it's just all
yeah.
like,
It's super
it's
vibrant.
fantastical and colorful, and nothing really makes sense. There's like giraffes and like pinwheels, and
Just whenever she has the opportunity to escape from a bad situation, it's always a very vibrant, colorful scene, and I really like that.
yeah,
Very well done.
I was going to say one of the successes I had down here is the Danny Elfman score,
Oh, that's
Who's very
right.
Elfman,
totally.
which you kind of see a different side of Danny there.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the traditional Danny
Some of
Elfman.
it does though.
Yeah. There was that it was in one of the dreams that there was a song playing that I think was like, oh, okay, I can hear it for sure. It was supposed to be like this really warped sounding kind of, not realistic, surreal moment.
Yeah, and it's weird that Danny Elfman had anything to do with it, considering how much of a failure this movie was
Yeah.
initially.
So what do you think? Why wasn't this movie well received? Like, what do you think it did to detract people? Maybe it didn't get the right marketing, but maybe the content drew them away. I don't know.
I think a lot of it had to probably do with all the child pornography kind of vibe.
Yeah, the I-5 killer did this to young women, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this movie originally received an NC-17 rating, and then
Wow.
got chopped down to an R.
And the one we watched was R.
Yes.
Okay, so it could have been worse.
Yes.
Oof. Do you think it got worse when it was like the reveal of who he was?
I don't know. I from what I read, Matthew Bright, the guy who wrote and directed it, said that during the editing process and during like the rating process, Oliver Stone was like working on something else. He wasn't readily available, and he said that his movie totally got butchered, and like Oliver Stone wasn't there to save it, basically.
Really?
Yeah, like he didn't have his like production, I don't know, producing integrity to kind of hold the movie together, and I guess it didn't end up being exactly what he wanted, but he's happy with it.
Yeah, in the end.
Yeah.
Is there a director's cut of this? Does he have his own?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to watch.
That would be
To
interesting.
see exactly what this... Because he wrote and directed, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting.
I don't know how much of what got caught. I think it was just for language content.
Oh, so that's
Well,
it?
this is what got left in. Wow.
Yeah, I was saying.
Which makes me wonder how much they had to cut. Like, was it a
Yeah.
little? Was it a lot? And I guess the makeup that Bob had on for his disfigured face
Yeah.
in her dream sequence was the makeup they were originally supposed to use.
Oh,
but it took
that, like-
Okay, yeah.
It was like really messed up and like
Yeah.
pulled up and disgusting.
You
Yeah,
only
but
get,
it took
like,
like
2
7
frames of it,
hours
yeah.
to apply, and they just didn't have time
Really?
to do that.
Because I actually like how the makeup really was in reality, and then how in the dream it was the really fucked up version. I liked how they did that.
That was great.
So they actually probably, by saving time and budget, they probably just made a little bit of a better effect there.
Because you only see it for like a couple of frames.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But you definitely notice it.
I also love
I like his voice box.
So true. It's so much scarier. It makes him such like such a weird, like a more disjointed character.
He's like straight up Vader.
Yeah.
Like he's such like a bad guy.
And he wants a fucking straw for his soup.
Excuse me, Flo. Can I
get the
the
soup
fucking
du jour?
straw for this soup du jour?
I also love the satirical commentary of this movie, like you mentioned before.
Yeah, I was going to maybe save it for the risks, but I guess we can call it now.
No,
like
We could call it a risk because that works for me.
I think maybe for the mid '90s, the how heavily this calls out like classism is maybe a little risky, or maybe would have gone over the audience's head at that time.
Yeah.
Like everyone in this movie that's like rich or affluent is just a horrible piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
Like
they don't give her the time of day. They
No.
don't give her the benefit of the doubt.
they just immediately assume the worst, whereas they are just doing these horrible things directly to her face.
Oh yeah.
And the one that really actually hit me, like, and the movie hit you over the head with it, but it really did. I felt it. Was when Bob Wolverton's wife is immediately willing to just be like, he's got mental problems, when like the entire movie she is like just talking about how all these kids on the street have mental issues and they should be thrown to the gas chamber.
Yeah.
And none of the characters give her any credit for that. They're just like, no, fuck off. I really appreciated that. Like,
Yeah, totally.
Fuck her.
yeah, exactly. That was the line. That was literally
exactly
the
what
line.
he said.
Also, you have this like powerful, well, semi-powerful, influential psychiatrist who is Bob Wolverton, and he kind of makes her trust him and then totally exploits her feelings and everything. I mean, he is a psychopath.
Yeah, and the movie doesn't. The movie, like we discussed earlier, the movie doesn't give him any opportunity to leverage that over Vanessa.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's how he kind of starts it out. He's like, nobody's going to believe you.
Right, which is
The
something
age-old thing, and nobody does.
something she's been hearing her entire life, so she just does not put up with it.
Yeah.
Not this time.
And I felt like it made for a very satisfying experience. Like,
A different experience.
definitely different. But I don't know, overall, I felt that was a big strength of the movie.
Yeah,
Just-
for sure.
It was very satisfying to see someone just not get anything pulled over on them anymore.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, they don't make movies about that character. You know, not often. And the another risk on top of that, I guess, would be the fact that even Kiefer Sutherland signed up to do a movie like this.
Yeah.
That even got an NC-17 rating because he had already done. This is '96, so he had already done like
a lot of stuff.
like Lost Boys and
Young Guns,
and a bunch of other movies that he's
Flatliners, probably.
yeah Flatliners that he's really well known for. Where he's actually probably peaking at those moments.
Yeah.
And so he decided to do a movie like this. I thought that was, risky on his part.
Well, maybe he had faith in the script, because honestly, if I had read it, I probably would be like, this is awesome.
Totally.
This is satirically hilarious and pushes the envelope, and how could it go wrong?
Yeah, it's totally cutting edge.
I mean, in some respects, I would say if this had been a big success, I'd be like, yeah, of course it is. It has that same vibe of like a really good mid-'90s thriller. Like, I don't see why this is any different than, Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs or, like you had said, Natural Born Killers.
Now, was this one of Reese Witherspoon's first, like,
It was
lead
definitely
roles?
an early one, yeah.
So, I mean, she really had nothing to lose, kind of.
I think Fear maybe came out the year before this with Mark Wahlberg. And I know she was in Man in the Moon, rather. But I'm not sure of any of her other early roles.
No, she only had a couple of small roles, I guess, before that, and
so it wasn't really a risk.
no, I mean, well, this came out, I guess, the same year as Fear did.
Oh, okay, that
So,
makes sense.
but that was about the same time, and I mean, she had lots of small stuff before then. She had some TV stuff, so I mean, maybe this was her first chance to lead a movie.
Well, I guess it was kind of a risk for her too, then, considering how extreme some of the movie was.
Yeah,
And she's like just starting to land leading roles with like Mark Wahlberg.
that's true.
To take
too.
a role like this, it's risky on her behalf.
Mark Wahlberg also freshly coming off Marky Mark, not some, the established man he is today, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
So where do we think this movie fell short of achieving its goal of pushing stuff forward? What elements of it did we not like?
I have
I'm
one.
hard
Okay,
pressed.
I have one element I didn't like, and that was
Tell me.
her boyfriend Chopper. Like, I just felt like that whole that served no purpose to me. That just seemed in there to try and do something.
It was a plot device to later let the detective know that she wasn't actually racist, and that when she called him the dreaded N-word,
yes,
it
which
was
she
just
used
because
a lot.
he did not believe her and he disrespected her.
Yeah, but that seemed so trivial in the first place.
I would have liked some more meat on that. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least make me care about Chopper a little bit more before icing him so quickly.
Oh,
you know?
but I love that his name is Chopper Wood. And I'm pretty sure in the Little Red Riding Hood allegory, there is like a woodsman.
Yeah, I think the woodsman saves
her in the
Little Red Riding Hood. So
He
I'm actually,
gave
you know what?
He gave her the gun.
That's also, yeah, I didn't think about that. You know what? You just, yeah, I was just about to say, I was wondering if they're trying to like invert the fact that she gets saved and rather she saves herself. But Chopper does give her the gun, so in a way, you can make that connection.
Busting this thing wide open.
Anything else from anyone?
I was going to say, and this is a stupid little thing, but these are the stupid little things that I pick up on.
Good.
When she's in the solitary confinement, she pulls a lighter out of her, outfit. Where in the fuck did she get a lighter?
That's actually a good point.
Because don't you think they would have,
there would have been
put her in there?
Yeah, that's true. There would have been an intensive strip search, yeah.
Especially someone who'd been arrested 3 times for arson.
Yeah.
And once for attempted murder.
But I guess you gotta have those smokes when you're in the big house.
Yeah, but she used it to like make a weapon. Like she could have just used that as a weapon.
True.
She could have just
but she's in solitary. What is she gonna do? Light her own cell on fire?
Yeah.
Somebody get me out of here! I'm burning alive.
Try me as an adult now.
I did notice something. I guess I don't know if it could be construed as continuity error. But in the beginning, like, she's struggling to read a sentence that says, "The cat drinks milk." And then after she kills Bob and she's at the roadside diner, she's like, "Oh, I'll have, like, the double He-Man breakfast with a cherry Coke." I mean...
That breakfast sounds delicious, by the way. It does.
It really does.
That does sound great.
Sounds like the lumberjack.
I don't know if that would be continuity. Maybe, like, character continuity.
Well, I mean, as far as excuses for that go, do you think she was... kind of fucking with the person in the beginning?
Maybe.
It's possible, yeah. Because, I mean...
Or I guess it's more likely that...
Or it just tries to show you how far she's come.
A poor illiterate urban youth would be used to ordering off of menus and maybe not so much reading books.
Yeah.
True.
I've got something else.
What do you got?
So here's an issue I had here. She kills the I-5 killer, and the police don't even for a second think maybe she's telling the truth. They're just like, oh,
yeah.
I mean,
that's true. They just kind of
gloss over it.
Yeah, they didn't even like bother getting the search warrant until that guy was like, "Hey, she called me that name for no reason. Maybe she's onto something."
Yeah, I feel like that does play out thematically in terms of like the victimization themes and the classism themes, but in terms of like plot, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't the police follow up on that lead at all?
Yeah.
They didn't check the crime scene. Anyway, he just goes back and finds the hair laying out there in the open. They didn't see that the first time.
At first I was like, did it get like blown somewhere? But I feel like that would be way too heavy to just get blown about in the breeze.
Yeah, no, it was like the whole ponytail that he cut off there.
Yeah.
Just left.
Yeah, that was definitely a plot hole that was kind of bumbling around in my head. I mean, I get why they did it, but it still didn't sit right with me. I wonder if they maybe would have been able to write around that in a smarter manner.
All right, do we have any more failures before we move on?
I want to know
favorite parts.
Where did Brooke Shields get the gun?
That's a good question too.
She was like, she was up the stairs and blowing her fucking head off, like in 5 seconds.
I don't know. Did
Maybe
you take
they
it?
are illegal gun-owning Californians.
I'll say, did she take it from?
But was
the
it in the
detective?
bathroom already?
And that was it was really quick.
It was quick.
Very quick. Well, I mean, it was presented as to be very quick, but
I mean, I guess that's
Also
another
true.
weird thing too, because as soon as we would have found out that, after they discover the evidence, she immediately blows her head off. Why didn't the police like try to restrain her at all? Because maybe she's in on it. She might have been lying to them the entire time.
Yeah.
She has ready access to a gun. She could have just blown all them down.
And she didn't know that her husband had a shed full of pornos.
Yeah. I mean, it does strike me as the same kind of direction you would see in a 90s thriller. So, I mean, I guess I'm not going to fault it too much. It seems very of its time.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe that the Hollywood shorthand a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, they were just like, yeah, fuck her, man. She's stupid.
That black cop was hilarious, though, I have to say.
Yeah, he was great. I felt like he really enjoyed hearing the things he was hearing from these women.
He was
intrigued by them in a weird way.
He was kind of Frank Washingtoning the entire time. He was just smiling and just like,
"Ooh, damn."
Yeah.
All right, so favorite parts. Who wants to call out some favorite moments or favorite themes?
Oh man.
Okay.
All right, Eric.
I hope I'm not stealing this from anyone else because we all laughed pretty hard at this. But after Bob Wolverton manages to make it to the hospital and he's like all wrapped up, and Dan Hedaya asks him if he recognizes the woman in this picture, and he shows him a picture of Reese Witherspoon's character, and she's
like
so goddamn happy.
She's like staring at someone.
It's like her school
out of
photo.
frame.
Yeah.
Her like tongue sticking out. Like
Yes.
And all the while, Kiefer Sutherland's just wrapped up in gauze,
Yeah.
like screaming in agonizing pain. That is a beautiful contrast.
I'm going to have to go with the extension cord guy.
Nice. That poor guy, right? So, right at the very end of the movie, when we find out that he was like in the bed,
in her nightgown.
in a nightgown with a shower cap on,
like the wolf does.
Exactly correct. And then when they start duking it out in her grandmother's apartment after he killed her, apparently her neighbor walks in with like, maybe she asked for an extension cord yesterday and he found one, and he just comes walking in like, "Hey, I found that extension cord for it," and then she just gets shot in the chest. And then beyond that, he then walks out of the trailer just
At the end of the movie.
Yeah. Like when the police are about to go in, they don't even notice him. And he's just walking out holding his stomach with like a gunshot wound. And I think that's like another thing, like I don't know if I want to clip this short regards to that particular guy, but I like that gunshot does not equal dead in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which I feel like is such a Hollywood shortcut that so many movies just adhere to.
totally.
Oh yeah.
But like, actually, I'm trying to think, does anyone that gets shot in this movie get shot to death other than...
Chopper does it.
Oh, that's right, Chopper does.
He only got
and he got shot once.
Yeah, he got shot once.
Yeah,
Never mind.
They missed him the first time.
Yeah, that's.
I was going to say I
interesting.
have another thing that I just thought of that I have an issue with.
Oh.
Reese Witherspoon runs into the trailer park and just starts yelling, "Grandma! You know how many fucking grandmas are probably in that trailer park?"
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is this happening?
Everyone comes outside.
My granddaughter's here, finally. No, it's my granddaughter. They're all fighting over her. That grandma with that Kiefer Sutherland kill probably wasn't even her grandma.
I know, she's like, "Oh, this isn't even my grandma." Oh, that's a shame.
Oh man, I have
what do you
so
got?
many favorite parts. Vanessa has the best insults and lines in this movie. It was really hard for me to pick. I wrote down like 3. I'll share them all.
Please do.
When they're in court and Vanessa finds out she's going to be tried as an adult, and they're like, the bailiff is leading her out of the courtroom, and Bob and his wife Mimi are just all fucking smug and smiling, and Vanessa just yells, "Fuck you, chipmunk face." I thought that was hilarious. And then when Bob initially picks her up and she finds out he's the I-5 killer, and she has the gun on him, and he tries to like turn around to reason with her, and she yells, "Do you want to get shot a whole bunch of times?" Hilarious. And then the last one, which might be my favorite one, is when she's pretending to turn tricks just to get a car so she can drive to her grandma's house, and she has this John pull down his pants, and then she pulls a gun on him and basically tells him to get in the trunk. So he's like getting in the trunk, and he's like, I can't, I'm claustrophobic. And she's like, "Well, I got claustrophobic sucking strained dick." And I just thought that was like the best line of the entire movie. Like the writing for her character was just flawless and just so funny to
So
me.
was the execution as well.
Yes, she did a fantastic job. I initially had doubts about that.
Especially because when I think Reese Witherspoon, I think of that movie Sweet Home Alabama.
She's always like very
Close.
non-offensive characters.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just like how this movie was about like a budding young criminal put in the situation to be a good guy with your criminal like instincts.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was really good.
That was a clever twist.
Yeah, they like allowed her to be a criminal for the sake of good.
Yeah.
And then I just had 2 other quick ones. The chicken soup thing. when Bob is sitting in the diner with his mangled face and the terrified waitress is taking his order. And his face is all fucked up, and his mouth is like wide open, and he can't
looks
really
like
talk.
somebody stuck a vacuum, or no, like a leaf
side
blower.
of his face.
Yeah, or a
leaf
blower.
Like half of it's a slit, and the other half is just a wide open circle. And she's like, "What can I get you?" And he's like, "I'll take some chicken soup with a fucking straw."
Then he starts like grasping at her breast area and her name tag.
Oh, so
Hello.
creepy.
Yeah.
And then just before Vanessa shoots him, when she asks if he accepts Jesus Christ as his Lord and personal Savior, I just found that comical.
I almost want to say that's like a straight up Charles Bronson line from Death Wish 2. I'm not making that up.
Really?
He literally asks like the street punk if he believes in Jesus, and then tells him that he's going to meet him, and then shoots him.
I felt like she was so sincere about it, which
Yes.
is what made it that much more funny to me.
Yeah.
Like she really legitimately cared and wanted him to get it out before she shot him.
Totally.
Her character did come to like I felt like that character was a whole. I believe that character was written from the bottom up, and not just wasn't just like a compilation of like, okay, we're gonna give her this, this, and this. Like, someone fleshed out a character with 16 years of history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like reverse engineered with a one good idea. It was built up properly. I can agree with that. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts, I guess, is going to be the very end of the movie, which was like, you know, this huge culmination of a fight between the I-5 killer and our main character, and then, you know, she wins, and then they go outside, and she's like, "You guys got to smoke," and then freeze frame, happy ending, like after this crazy story.
Freeze frames and then like her laughing.
Yeah,
And then like the theme music for a sitcom or something starts playing.
That creepy Danny Elfman music.
Everybody's like, ah, ha, ha, ha.
I thought you were gonna say when she pulls the blanket off him when he's wearing my grandma's nightgown. And she's like, "Those are some big ugly fucking teeth you got, Bob."
yeah, yeah. She even played into it too. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. I think just the way it ended, the way it wrapped itself up.
Jimmy, what do you got for favorite parts?
I told you, the extension cord.
I didn't want to step
true.
anyone.
I like the extension cord, and I like Bob's fucked up face.
The transformation of Bob into an actual wolf was brilliant. I loved how wolfy he looked.
Totally.
So good.
And actually, I would say just the transformation of Bob, just that quick 180 he does as a character.
Yeah.
That, oh, I'm totally open. Oh, now I'm really intimidating. Oh, now I'm a whiny bitch. Like,
Oh yeah.
that whole 180 and like, you know, actually another very specific moment was when they're, you know, he's in the hospital after just being shot and going in or whatever. People are having like a conversation. He's just screaming in the background in pain. Like,
Oh God!
and everyone's just like talking.
They're fucking killing me.
So that
No one's
was
paying
hysterical. You know, they did such a good job with that.
I really hope that no one is ashamed to have this movie in their repertoire,
Yeah, totally.
because I think this movie's great, and I'm so glad that it became like a cult classic, and that people really love it because it deserves it.
All right.
I have one more little favorite throwaway part.
Throw it in.
After the police discover Bob's secret porno shed, and with human/animal remains, he pulls up to the house and sees all of the police vehicles like parked in his driveway, and one of the cops is just looking at the centerfold. Like,
Some of those titles are terrible.
I missed the
wanted to
titles. I
repeat
didn't see
them.
that.
One was like
No.
cocksucking toddlers.
I
was like,
okay, see, I didn't even see that part. Yeah.
No, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they really make Bob to be a fucking terrible guy.
Yeah.
Somehow his wife didn't realize that this ungodly collection of magazines is in the shed. Like, not even like one or two or three. Like,
No, like a whole shed's worth.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I get it was for effect, but I thought it was funny that as soon as they opened the doors, they just came spilling out.
So it's like, honey, I need to go into the backyard for a few minutes. Magazine. She's like cooking dinner or something, and in the background you just see the magazines falling
Like
out.
an avalanche covers him up.
I almost wonder if that maybe is something that got lost on the editing room floor. Is that like maybe there were hints dropped that like maybe she started to see bits and pieces of it and willingly ignored it,
Maybe.
which is why she was like so outwardly against this little monster that had mutilated her husband.
Yeah.
She was like projecting a little too much.
That's good.
But it never really showed up in the subtext of the movie, so I might be projecting a little too much.
Whoa! All right. Let's move on to ratings then.
The picks of the week?
No.
Picks! Okay.
No, we're not picking anything. So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking
Fuck
father.
you.
Fuck you.
A fucking fine.
Fuck yeah!
Can we play That's Fucked Up or What?
No, we're not going to play that.
Okay.
I like to point out that Ebert gave this 3.5 out of 4 stars, and that Siskel and Ebert at the movies gave this movie 2 thumbs up,
Very nice.
and that it still was a commercial failure.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you're rating.
All right, we'll keep it in mind. Who do we... Jimmy, do you know the rating system, right?
I forgot.
Okay.
For the benefit of Jimmy and the listener.
Yes, we'll explain. So the best rating you can give a movie is a fuck yeah. The second best rating is a fuck off, and the worst rating is a fuck you. And you can use a different million fucks in between.
Different million fucks.
Yeah, so it has to be phrased in the form of a fuck. You can say what the fuck or fucking fine or anything like that. But those are your 3 bases.
All right, I'm
Or
gonna
chicken
go
soup with a fucking straw.
fucking all right.
Fucking all right.
Fucking all right.
That's perfectly fine rating. Now, why do you give it this rating? Why'd you give it
I mean, it
just
wasn't
a fucking
it wasn't
all
the
right?
best movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad. I thought it was, above the middle, somewhere
Above the middle.
All right.
So better than a fuck off. So I
somewhere
get you.
somewhere between really bad and really good. I'd say.
All right.
Somewhere between there. No, I don't know. If I was to give it a grade that isn't on the fuck scale,
We can't do that.
I don't know. I'd give it like a 73.
Like a 73? Okay.
73.
Well, we don't accept
Nice
that grade.
random.
Wait,
So-
hold on.
So that's why
Jimmy,
I said fucking all right.
I
Jimmy,
get you.
Wait, I think I can help Jimmy out. Would you give it a fucking 73?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go.
I'm perfectly acceptable.
Fucking 73.
we can accept that.
All right.
All right. Eric, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with a fuck yeah. I enjoyed I enjoyed it the whole way through. I think a hallmark of whether or not I'm going to enjoy a movie is if I look at it it's always the 47-minute mark. I'm always looking at the counter on the DVD player, and if I say, wow, it's already 47 minutes in, good movie. If I say, we're only at 47 minutes, bad movie. I thought it was great. I'd like to give it another watch at some point, just so I can pick out some of the things that maybe I missed the first time around. I think the movie, we don't usually watch smart movies on this fucking podcast. We usually watch stupid garbage like Robo Vampire.
It's true.
So, I didn't go into this expecting to actually do some serious analysis, and I would like to watch it again. I think the only thing that maybe didn't sit right with me at some points is it does kind of have those feelings of okay, this is a mid-90s thriller. Everyone loves Tarantino, but
Oh yeah.
and this is maybe the best example of that kind of film, so I'm not going to fault it for that. It's really good about that.
All right.
So overall, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it in spite of that. I don't think it did it any favors, but overall, I think the whole thing was a solid production. I really liked it.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Britt, what do you give it? Since
Fuck
this is your
yeah.
selection. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, all the way. I was excited about Cult Month because I initially wanted to do this just for the podcast, and Tom was like, well, I don't know if it's really a B movie, and I felt that it personally was, but I didn't want to bring on a movie that we all didn't feel equally about in terms of if it fit into our niche here. But it is a cult classic, so I took the opportunity for Cult Month to pick it. I love the writing in this movie. I think it's hilarious. I love the social commentary. I love the performances. I'm hard-pressed to find something I don't like about this movie. I just thoroughly enjoy it. Maybe it's because the first time I saw it, I was very surprised. I just had no expectations.
Oh yeah, same here. I can, as a first-time viewer of this, I can totally agree with that.
Yeah. This is actually.
Was it your first time?
This is the second. I would say this is the second
second
time I've seen this movie. You showed it to me years and years ago. And the first, I think I liked it better the second time I watched it over the first time. So I mean, my rating is going to be fucking cool because this movie's fucking cool.
It really is.
It does a lot of stuff real different. It moves really well, and it never gets boring. I would say that this is definitely one of the better movies we've watched. It's executed very well. It's thought out. They knew what they were going for, and then they actually had to dial it back, apparently. So fucking cool from me.
Sweet.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't think the director/writer really made a lot of other things besides this, except for the Gary Oldman vehicle Tiptoes, in which he plays a dwarf. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that movie.
What in the world?
Have you never heard of this one?
We haven't seen it personally, but we have heard things about it. Just some things.
Now that we've all rated it, what is everyone's final
All right,
thoughts?
time for plugs.
My final thought is that
Final plugs.
anyone who just wants to watch an enjoyable movie should watch this. And if you want to watch a really more fucked up, maybe slightly less enjoyable movie, watch Freeway 2. Confessions of a Trick Baby, starring Natasha Lyonne.
That's
and
right.
What is it?
David
Confessions of a what?
Trick Baby,
Oh.
starring Natasha Lyonne and David Alan Grier and Vincent Gallo. It's
That one sounds
really
like a blast.
fucking weird.
Well, we should all check that one out too. We should have watched the two of them together.
That definitely falls under the category of something we could watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances. All right. So no final thoughts. We're all done.
No, I don't. I think I
was-
got out everything I needed to.
I'd say I thought it was a good movie. I thought all the acting was good. I thought it was well put together. I think it's a movie that would make some people uncomfortable,
I can definitely agree with that. Yeah.
If you're a little bit squeamish, this might not be the movie.
squeamish.
I wonder
or
if that has
really,
something to do with its critical reception.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking.
I don't know about that though, because then I was thinking like, well, Taxi Driver is critically acclaimed, and that shares a lot of the same themes as this does in terms
True.
of like
There wasn't as much
child,
child pornography.
Yeah,
but there was
sexual
literal
violence.
like child prostitutes in Taxi Driver, and a dude gets his hand shot off, and he's like, "Ah, you fucker." So I mean, there you go.
exactly,
That
man.
is a very serious movie, though.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it might be the fact that this movie is very flippant,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a lot of dark humor. Maybe that's the reason that's not
is.
so well received.
It's rather lowbrow.
Those brows are set
Isn't,
real low.
It's not high class.
They had to
Lowbrow.
reattach Bob Wolverton's brows to be really low.
Wasn't
Wolverton.
Fargo like Fargo is like a cult movie that really didn't get that big of a
Until after the fact.
yeah,
Yeah, I think.
and that was dark humor, right?
Yeah, I think that movie picked up a
I
lot
still
of
haven't
steam.
seen that.
Still haven't watched Fargo? I think that came out actually right about the same time this did.
Oh.
About 96, 97.
Yeah.
So, that was the era of dark comedy.
Oh, I have one last fun fact.
Oh, fun fact.
Picture of Vanessa's dad that she carries in her wallet
Yeah.
is actually a picture of mass murderer Richard Speck.
And which one was
really?
Richard Speck?
He broke into a house in Illinois in like the 60s or 70s or something and murdered like 8 nursing students.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's not a fun fact at all.
That is a fun fact.
No.
That's a terrifying
That's
fact.
Hats off to Matthew Bright for writing that in there.
That is pretty a
and
cool idea, though. Yeah,
putting
I
in
agree.
little like tidbits like that. I feel like there's a lot of little
Drives
stuff
the
like
insanity,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool and really well thought out, and just makes me like this movie even more.
All right. So
The end.
This has been Second Class Cinema. We watched Freeway from 1996.
Second class Cinnabon.
Second Class
If you'd
Cinema.
like more information, please navigate. to
Will you shut the fuck up already?
Studio
Let him do his plug.
All right. You got
Sorry,
any,
it's a habit.
you got
It's
any
just-
plugs,
it's just-
Jimmy?
Do I have any plugs?
Yeah.
I'm
Well, all right. This has been Second Class
That's not all the
Cinema.
time we got.
All right. So you can find us on Facebook, Second Class Cinema on Facebook, Twitter at 2ND Class Podcast, the number 2ND Class Podcast, YouTube, iTunes,
Stitcher, iTunes.
Jimmy, where are we?
Stitcher sucks.
You know what?
Fuck Stitcher.
Stitcher's had some issues, and they need to get their act together. That's for sure. And Podbean as well. That's where we host all of our stuff. So head on
Imager.
over there. And we've been on Imager. We've been posting a lot of our GIF files to Imager, so you can check us out there as
That's
well.
how you pronounce that?
Imager.
Yeah, that's my
Imager.
Imgur.
Imager.
Oh.
Imager. Imager.
I've been calling it Crandall.
Sex cauldron.
Yeah, we watched it on DVD. You can find it on DVD, VHS.
I don't know where else you can find it. To be honest.
You could probably go to Movie Stop and find it on the shelf.
I have it on DVD, so I didn't look anywhere else.
You
And
hear that, folks? We can afford DVD players.
And you can also reach us at secondclasscinema@gmail.com.
Jimmy, where can we find you?
Jimmy, thanks a lot.
You can find me in the bowels of hell.
Okay, fair enough. That was my attempt to at least let you put your plug
Yeah,
in.
you can
but-
find me up the street. I just want to say, Tom, thanks for letting me come in the house for once. Usually you make me stay outside.
Yeah, we have you watch it on the porch through the window. And no, I won't hand you your drink either. You have to come in and get it. So yeah, thanks for coming by, Jimmy. Really appreciate
Definitely.
it.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Thanks.
I felt that you might enjoy this movie, so
I did enjoy it.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the experience. That's it. We are all done.
All right. You've been
Bye.
listening to the studios.
buenos noches.
What would you like?
Chicken soup with a fucking
Freeway.